Are you tired of using subpar fertilizer that don't give your crops the boost they need? Look no further than Irish Shite, the all-natural and sustainable solution for your farm. Made from the finest blend of Irish animal waste, Irish Shite provides essential nutrients for your crops to thrive. And it's not just good for your crops, it's also good for your skin. With Irish Shite, you'll look 10 years younger. So why settle for less? Choose Irish Shite. It's made right here in Ireland. And be sure to tell your friends and fellow farmers about the power of Irish manure. This message has been brought to you by the Irish Shite Association, the natural choice for a sustainable farm.
Right. Are we ready?
Here we go.
Okay, yeah.
I'm recording.
Should I count how many episodes of TV I've done? Is that
Well,
that feels like an unseemly thing to do?
I'm used to being the underdog on this podcast, so, you know, the more excessively outlandish the number, the better.
Well, the quality's really dipped on a lot of them. But I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Oh my God.
22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30,
What?
31. I'm counting like one-off like Glasgow Girls.
So 28 TV
28,
episodes.
yeah, that's
Oh my
right.
God, Joe. Wow.
But Will, a lot of them, you have to understand, very bad. Very bad.
Can't relate.
You pompous, scumbag, fuckface, dickhead, asshole!
Fuck you! Yeah, that's my message to you. Fuck you and kiss my ass.
You are stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
You shit-kicking, stinky, horse-smelling motherfucker, you!
You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard!
Hello, and welcome to The Best Bits, a movie podcast where each week we pick our favourite scenes from randomly selected, weirdly specific themes. This is your co-host Kevin, a writer of 1 and a bit films and 3 and a bit episodes of TV. And I'm joined for the very first time by my co-host of 4 films, 2 TV movies, and 28 episodes of TV, Joe Barton.
Hi, Kevin.
How are you, Joe?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Whoa.
It's so good to have you
Kevin.
on the podcast. It's such a step up from what we're used to.
What's going on here?
Because this episode is about sequel reboots, I've rebooted the podcast. So, new season, new co-host, and I'm sorry to break it to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just get my coat.
Sorry, Will, there's been some changes around here.
Oh, your voice is so much more gravelly than mine as well, Joe. Oh, God. Well, listen. I'll hang around. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hi, Will. I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
I'm very good. So nice to have you on the show.
We have just thrown Joe into the deep end, and he's probably wondering what the fuck is going on. But this is par for the course.
Yeah. It's part of the course. I don't know. I'm excited to be your permanent co-host. I assume we're going to continue this bit for...
Yeah.
Absolutely. We need the clout. I mean, I just called out there, you 4 films, 2 TV movies, and 28 episodes of TV. Joe, are you happy?
No, not for a long time.
Oh
I'm
my
happy
God.
with some of it, yeah. And, occasionally I feel something, I guess.
So, this week we are doing sequels and sequel reboots. So we're mashing them together. So Joe is going to give us his pick for his favourite sequel scene. Because, Joe, for anybody listening at home who don't know what those 4 films, 2 TV movies, and 28 episodes of TV are about, you're also, at the moment, working on the Batman spin-off, which I guess we can spin it as a sequel, because they are rebooting the Batman, aren't they, with Matt Reeves?
Yeah, that's a reboot. I don't know if the thing I'm doing would technically actually be a sequel. I'm sort of stuck because I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it.
You can say whatever you want, Joe, because the more clout we can get, the better.
I'll just vaguely explain what the plot of episode 1 is. No, I don't know if it would count as a sequel, but it's definitely it's reboot adjacent.
But you're also working on a Cloverfield sequel.
Yes.
And you can say whatever you want about that as well.
J.J. Abrams is notoriously doesn't like to keep things mysterious. Yeah, I am. I'm writing a Cloverfield sequel. Therein ends what I'm allowed to tell you about it. I think, but yeah, I'm doing it. I'm writing it.
Are we ever going to find out what Cloverfield means?
I'm just hoping this is a prequel in which we finally see the clover field or the field of clovers.
Shit, yeah.
Set it in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. Cloverfield was from the name of the road, the street, I think, wasn't it? That's where they got that word from. Because I think the Bad Robot Offices is on like Cloverfield Avenue or something in LA.
Have you been, obviously, I suppose the pandemic has sort of limited things, but have you been to Bad Robot's offices?
I have been.
They're amazing.
They're absolutely mad, isn't it? It's like.
Will, have you been to Bad Robot's offices?
Yeah, listen, I've been to a lot of places, and I like to go to good robots' offices.
There we go.
Okay, I just looked at
Podbot's
bad
offices.
robots.
This dungeon in your basement is not my office.
Oh, shut up, Podbot. I didn't mean to
Shake off.
introduce you. Oh, and yeah, no, it was amazing. You know, I was so used to sort of dossing around Soho, and you're meeting people basically on a bench in a shared office space, which is in a hallway, and then you go to Bad Robots, and it's like fucking hell. They've got people just doing arts and crafts, people making T-shirts just for the sake of being creative, and unbelievable.
They've got like little doodle pads. Like when you sit down in the reception, there's like these little pads like in front of you, like pens and paper, and there's like they encourage you to do something creative, like doodle. So I always thought,
wow,
yeah, which I didn't because copyright. They would own whatever you doodle and turn it into a free film franchise or something. But yeah, it's funny. It's like a sort of one giant like breakout space. It's very sort of it's like a startup company, but very successful.
Yeah, like a Silicon Valley startup company.
Yeah.
So to segue into this week's topic, what would be your favorite JJ sequel, Joe?
Shit, man. What has he done? He's done Star Trek and Star Wars. Has he done any other ones?
He's done
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
Mission Impossible. Shit. The Mission Impossible one was really good, actually, wasn't it? I mean, it was almost like.
Do you know who was in that? The guy that was on my street when I was growing up, Jonathan Rice Myers. He lived about 3 doors down from me.
Did he?
And he became a really successful actor really quickly. Like I think he was about 17 or 18.
Yeah,
and he's a few years older than me. And I thought, well, that's it. That's me fucked. Because he's taken all the good luck out of the terrace. There's no way that I'm going to get to work in film when he's off doing movies with Ang Lee. And
do you think only one successful person can come from one street? Is that like a...
I don't anymore, seeing as I'm so successful. But at the time, I thought it's lightning doesn't strike the same place twice. And
I have always had a counter philosophy, which is like a rising tide raises all boats. And I kind of go, oh, wow, that means if the guy down the road can do it, maybe I could do it too. You never know.
Yeah, I can't act. So I was stuck waiting.
Okay.
I thought that was a good film. It definitely rebooted that franchise.
The only way you're gonna get what you want is for you to... You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing? You don't think I'll do it? Where is it? Where the hell is it?
Look at me.
Where the hell is it?
Look at me. Stay with me.
7! 7! Kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I swear to God, I'm gonna kill you. 8!
Please, don't do this. Just let it go. I promise you. Promise you. I can figure out how to get whatever you
9!
want. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you get whatever you want. But you got to do what's right. What you know is right. No. No. No.
10.
But I was curious, seeing as Joe, you're in that space of obviously thinking about how do you bring something new to this, knowing that there's a long legacy of ideas and approaches to characters and to worlds and scenarios and stuff.
Yeah, man. I think fundamentally, I think you have to come at it from a place of just what's the best story you can tell, sort of more than anything. I think the pressure, And I think the thing that sort of trips up some sequels, not the Godfather. I mean, Godfather Part 2 is interesting because it is a direct sort of continuation of the first story. But I think sometimes you see the problem with sequels is that they sort of try and cram too many of the elements from the first movie into it, and it's this sort of struggle between, like, why would you organically tell this story anyway? Like, there's these different sort of factors that you're like, one, you just want to tell an interesting and compelling story, but the other one is you have these existing puzzle pieces to play with and get in, and and sometimes the challenge is fitting in stuff that people expect from the film they've seen, because it's essentially like that part of the reason why you make a sequel and why people come to a sequel is because they like something that already exists and want to see bits of that, but they also want it in a sort of new interpretation and something that can sort of stand on its own. But I think, it has to just be about, like, is this a good enough story to exist on its own? If the first film or whatever had never happened, would you still be able to watch this and enjoy it?
I suppose it's that thing, isn't it? Is whether you are elevating the first story or whether you're taking the characters from the first story in a new direction. There's like, because the sequels for me that don't really feel as compelling are like the Die Hard 2 ones.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Where, for whatever people think of that film, like how exciting it is or whatever, the fact that they had to bring back almost every single person that had a speaking part from the first film and shoehorn them in, where you had the wife and the reporter on the same plane together. It just felt very contrived, like bringing all those elements back in order to sort of appease the audience that loved the first film.
For me, you can't overlook Empire, because what Empire did is just like one of the
great TV show.
I'll clarify. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Kevin.
That is why you fail.
Because it literally gave you, it inverted everything and inverted the structure, and it gave you this amazing twist. But what I love about it is that instead of ending with a big space battle, it starts with a spaceship battle, but on the planet of Hoth, and gets smaller and smaller, especially when it goes into the second half, and really, it ends up with just a face-off between two characters. And one of the most amazing twists. And that really, truly was just bold. It wasn't rehashing the first thing, the first film. It was just expanding upon it. And as Joe was just elaborating, telling a compelling, the next compelling part of that story. So for me, that's like one of the best sequels I can imagine.
I remember reading an interview with Joss Whedon where he said that Empire doesn't work as a film because it's so open-ended and that it's more of an installment in an overarching story.
8-year-old me would have agreed with him.
Yeah, I suppose when you're having to wait a few years.
And especially if you hadn't seen A New Hope, and if your first Star Wars film is Episode 5, and you have waited your entire life to see a Star Wars film, and you put on Empire Strikes Back going, okay, there's Luke Skywalker, I know that action figure, and you end up going, what, Luke's a bad guy, and he loses? Oh my God. And
turn it off.
But I was very conflicted by that film. But it's a challenging thing, Joe, like, when you're carrying all of these things in your head, you're carrying the legacy of the fan expectation and the countless countless amount of things. But as you were saying, it's the importance is trying to tell that story, that good story amongst all of this. And I suppose that's the priority, isn't it? To try and just tell a really good story on its own.
100%. I mean that's all. I mean that is pressure. If you boil it all down, that has to be what it is. And I think, like, it's interesting, like, thinking about Empire and sort of sequels that feel like they are because I think that's like, yeah, especially you would say like there's sort of the Godfather as well and Star Wars. They do feel like trilogies, and I feel like that's a story that arches over. And I can't remember if that was always the plan or not with them, but they feel like they've been engineered to do that. And I think sometimes that can be, I think, helpful because you're almost just like telling another chapter of the story, or you're sort of continuing. There's stuff like, I always think like Pirates of the Caribbean is like an example of like tricky sequels, like, and that had like a really great first film that I don't think maybe they didn't necessarily think it was going to like go on and do more. But
Dude,
then, what?
My worst experience at the cinema was going to see, was it Dead Man's Chest? Was the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Superman Returns, and I saw them in like a double feature, and I just wanted to to not exist anymore in that space watching those films. But keep it light. Films are fun.
Yeah.
I didn't want to exist. I wanted to kill myself because I hated Pirates of the Caribbean so much.
Oh God!
But that's it. Like they bring back so many things from the first film that they don't need to. Like it's almost like they have these two like British guards that have like a 5-minute cameo in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and they come back and everyone comes back, and it's like I think that's like that thing of like we don't really know what made the first one really good, so we'll just bring everything back. Yeah,
it all has to be there instead of saying, okay, take the things that we really need for our story to a good. Let's focus on telling a good story. Use the components we only need, and bring new things to it. That's, I think, an essential thing. Add something new.
I guess the eternal debate when it comes to sequels is, for great scenes, is could that scene exist on its own, or do you need the knowledge of the first film to elevate that scene past the point of it being just a great scene, but being like an amazing moment, like Wrath of Khan, that great sequel in Star Trek, and you've got William Shatner screaming. Like, if you weren't aware of the backstory with that character, would that moment have landed as hard as it did?
I wasn't aware of the backstory when several times I watched it when I was a kid, and it worked for me.
You call yourself a Star Trek fan?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Well, I only watched the original Star Trek series for the first time this past years when pandemic started, and I loved it.
The pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a highlight of my life. Absolutely.
So I asked on Twitter, asked people what their favorite sequels were. And I'm pretty sure that if we were to like be straight down the line and vote with our head instead of our heart, we'd probably all go with The Godfather Part 2.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
But I asked on Twitter, as I said, and some of the titles that came back at me, flooding back at me, some of them surprised me. And I've not seen this one, but it came up multiple times. And it's Kung Fu Panda 2. Both of you guys have kids. Have either of you seen it?
I've not seen that either.
Jeez, I've seen it.
No.
I've seen it, but I cannot remember.
There we go. We can edit this out. Podbot, edit that out.
No, it's a great movie with a great villain, so I am keeping it in.
How did you? How did you do it? How did you find peace? I took away your parents. Everything. I scarred you for life.
See, that's the thing, Shen. Scars heal.
No, they don't. Wounds heal.
Oh, yeah. What do scars do? They fade, I guess?
I don't care what scars do.
You should, Shen. You gotta let go of that stuff from the past, because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you choose to be now.
Next.
Bill and Ted, Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
The one where the first one was a time travel movie, and the second one, they deal with heaven and hell. So it's like they took a totally different story, but they plugged in the same characters, and it they didn't do like Back to the Future 2, where it's another time travel. Well, I suppose with that one, that's the entire point of the franchise. But yeah, it was an interesting way to do a sequel.
Yeah, I liked how they introduced time travel into the second Back to the Future movie.
Oh God! I said on a previous podcast that that was one of the first times in the cinema where I thought, like, is that it? That can't be the ending of the film. It just stopped.
How does it end?
Marty gets a letter delivered to him that's from
1885. It's 100 years.
1885.
Yeah.
And then they played a trailer to the part.
Because did they film those two at the same time, 2 and 3?
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the few
like
times.
with one of the greatest sequels ever made, Superman 2.
Never heard of it.
Superman 2. The adventure continues with the 3 villains from Krypton. The world is on the brink of destruction.
Superman, can you hear me?
And Metropolis is in ruins.
Superman, help us!
Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Superman!
The adventure continues in Superman 2.
R.I.P. Richard Donner.
Yeah, I suppose it's a good moment to acknowledge his passing.
Kick it.
Adam's Family Values.
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm. That's great fun.
Some people really don't like that sequel because it is undermining the first one. But I think it's brilliant. I think it's such a great way to take the anarchic spirit of the Gremlins and plug that into the movie itself and make a really meta takedown of its own franchise.
It's so mad. It's just so mad and wacky and just truly a Looney Tunes cartoon. That's what it felt like.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, you should. Have you seen the first? You've seen the first Gremlins?
I've seen the first one. Yeah, I've seen the first one. And I've seen bits of the second one. I know I've seen bits of it, but I think it's just one of those ones that's passed me by. I haven't seen Wrath of Khan either.
I'm always amazed when people work in film and they just don't watch movies.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
Truly, that's been me for the last since pandemic began. Like the amount of films I've been able to watch is just ridiculous, embarrassingly few.
I just kept going to the cinema and there was nothing on. X-Men: Days of Future Past,
right?
Which I think that's probably my favorite of the X-Men films because it takes the original cast.
Okay.
And it mashes them up with the reboot cast. And it does that really cool time travel riff. And I really liked it. So, yes. Evil Dead 2, which is almost like a remake of the first one.
Yeah.
Or a reboot of the first one.
It's pretty much a remake, isn't it?
It pretty much is, but with better special effects.
Okay.
And they just drop out some characters and mix it up. But it's where Evil Dead became what it is in pop culture, that sort of wacky, over-the-top comedy horror. Tron Legacy, which that to me feels like it was the start of this whole lega-sequel thing that then came about with like Terminator Genesis and Halloween 2018 and the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where you're bringing back a legacy character and you're throwing them into a new story where it's almost like a soft reboot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that one. Again, it's been a decade since I've seen it, and I actually I love the soundtrack. I'm sorry, it's the soundtrack that's in my head, and the soundtrack just has stuck with me for a long time, and that's maybe the main reason I think
Daft
I like that
Punk. R.I.P.
It's just this moratorium. Oh my god, how many R.I.Ps are you going to get in this one episode, Kevin?
As many as possible.
Oh my god. England's European Championship hopes. R.I.P.
I really enjoyed that game. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, it was good. First 45 minutes were good.
Star Trek Generations.
Right.
Core breach is accelerating, Jordy. We've got to get out of here.
Where they took the Next Generation cast and they mashed them up with some of the original cast. It's not a very good film, but I loved it.
Warp core is going critical.
Did you really?
I did, yeah, because when did that come out? I must have been 13 or 14. And I had grown up on that TV show.
Separation complete.
Engaging impulse engines.
So to see them on the big screen, I loved it. But all those Next Generation movies, they don't really deliver on the promise of that cast. They sort of just focus on Picard and Data. it was an ensemble show, and you just want more moments with the other cast. Why did you not give them other things to do other than just stand there and say,
Report!
Cam controls are offline!
Yeah, they didn't live up to the heights of... they should have just really hired William Shatner to direct more of those sequels.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God. Terminator 2 and Aliens obviously came up a bunch of times. We've talked about those films so many times.
Let's get out of here. Fuck you, you little dipshit.
But, Joe, when I asked you what your favourite scene was from a sequel...
Yes.
What did you think? Or where did your head go? Other than like, oh, well, Jesus.
How did Kevin get my number? Is he fucking asking me this? Well, no, I didn't know what first I Googled to remind myself what sequels I'd seen.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? So, someone's at my door. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh, awesome.
Sorry.
This is why reboots don't work.
Precisely, Robin.
You see, you need to stick with the original formula.
Precisely.
You do. I'm going to try and get Joe to tell us everything that's in his NDA.
Right.
And then we'll get written up in like Slash Film and like Deadline, and oh my God, we'll triple our listeners.
And ends Joe's career at the same time. Sorry, hi Joe.
What's ending my career?
I was just telling Will there, and don't worry, I'll cut this out, that Batman dies in the Matt Reeves movie.
The first scene,
which you were telling me about.
Yeah.
Such a surprise.
In a really comical way.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
What are we talking about?
The best scene from a sequel that is influencing you with the Batman and the Cloverfield franchise.
Well, it was really difficult. I just went, I started cycling through all the sort of sequels that had been important to me. And I realized like a lot of sequels that had been quite influential, which is probably like quite a common thing, but a lot of them were just sort of from my childhood, and they weren't necessarily even, it wasn't that they were influential. I think it was just that they were, because you watch any old shit when you're young. And so, Mighty
and
Ducks
you like
too.
any old shit when you're young.
And you like it. Your critical faculties are not, firing on all cylinders.
No.
So the stuff I was, and I was like if the honest answer to the question is probably like the sequel that had the biggest effect on me, like for a large portion of my life, was Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's the directed.
I've not seen it.
Have you seen the first one? The one with there's the dogs and the cat, and they run.
I know the franchise, and I think I might have seen it. You know, when you're randomly picking up videos as a kid, and I think it's one of those random videos I would have watched. But I've definitely seen the first one, so I know.
I would have been over in the horror section and getting pulled away from it. I'd be like picking those up.
Did Michael J. Fox play one of the animals?
Michael J. Fox does. He voices Chance, the American Bulldog.
I've seen it.
And Sally Field voices a cat. Siamese cat called Sassy, and then someone else voices a Labrador or Golden Retriever or something. It's actually a reboot of a silent Disney movie from the 60s. Anyway, this isn't even my pick, but I was thinking but probably the sequel that I watched the most in my life is probably this one, which is basically like a really cheap reboot and it's the same story, but they go to San Francisco.
From Walt Disney Home Video.
I'm gonna miss you so much.
Left behind with family friends.
Have a nice vacation!
And far from their home. 3 beloved pets take matters into their own paws. He's Shadow.
Something doesn't smell right.
She's Sassy.
Cats rule and dogs drool.
He's Chance.
Get a life. Get 9 of them.
Now, they're determined to find their way back.
I'm going home.
Wait!
They're off on an adventure they'll never forget.
Oh, this ground isn't nearly soft enough.
Don't be such a sissy, Sassy.
It's an untamed world full of surprises.
What's that smell? Whoa! I never thought anything could smell too much.
Hey, you!
Where nothing comes easy.
Hey, Scram, get your own fish.
Careful, pup.
Help!
And danger waits at every turn.
I gotta tell you, domesticated animals wouldn't stand a chance at it.
Where the forces of nature will test their ability to survive. It will be an incredible journey home.
Hey guys, wait up!
Come on!
Home is just over that mountain.
Critics agree. 2 thumbs up, say Siskel and Ebert. A masterpiece of family entertainment, says ABC TV. In the classic tradition of Walt Disney Entertainment comes Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. Coming this fall on video cassette.
It's really good. Oh, I loved it. It's directed by a guy. He's dead now as well. R.I.P. I can't remember his name.
David R. Ellis.
Thanks, Bot.
And he directed a really good sequel, Final Destination. He directed Final Destination 2, which is actually really good sequel.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that has the best, I think it has the best sequence in that whole series, which is that highway crash.
Yeah.
You know, with big fucking logs that come out and it's like, anyway, the same director of that.
He also directed Shark Night and Cellular, the 2006 Chris Evans and Kim Basinger hostage movie.
Didn't he also do Snakes on a Plane?
That's right.
Yeah, he might have done Snakes on a Plane, actually.
That is a weird, to go from an animated movie to...
Not an animated movie. It's not an animated movie, Kevin. They were real
live
animals.
action. Yeah.
Live action, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
You tell him, Joe.
I don't watch movies.
Real dogs.
Real snakes.
But that was... real snakes and real logs. But that was a big one for me. But that was not my pick. I was trying to think of.
But what was the scene from it that you loved? What was the one that made you sort of go back to it?
It's hard. Well, it's really hard to pick any one scene from that film, partly because I can't really recall it too well. There is a scene where the dogs get caught.
Don't say humping.
No, they get caught.
I'd bite.
I give up, Will. He's your problem.
They get caught by some like.
I'll pass on that.
I want to say dog pound, and I was like, "You're just going to make a joke about that as well."
I'm not. I am not a child.
They get caught by a dog catcher, and then they get taken and they meet up with a bunch of sort of stray dogs, and I think they rescue someone from a fire at some point as well.
Well, it's good that you remember so much about it.
Listen, it was
your favorite sequel.
It's not. I was taking you on the on my journey to finding my eventual answer, and that was the first sequel that ever was really important in my life. But later on, actually, not even that much further down the line, I think the first time, like as a more sort of grown up person, that the sequel that I was the most invested and excited about was I'm gonna try and get the title right. It's Jurassic Park. Is it The Lost World?
The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Go as fast as you can.
I need you to send rescue immediately.
Taking dinosaurs off this island is the worst idea in history of bad ideas.
Let's get this movable feast underway. Don't move!
What is it?
Mommy's very angry.
Oh, God, I saw that on my own, and
that's sad.
It was sad. I couldn't get anyone to go with me. I couldn't get anyone to go see that movie. For some reason, the jump between the first one and the sequel, we'd all just aged out of it so fast.
What was Jonathan Rhys Meyers doing? He surely would have been interested. Why don't you just go down and knock on his door?
He's a lot older than me. And, I wasn't going to knock on his door and say, Jonathan, can you take me to see Jurassic Park, The Lost World, please?
That's how it always starts. But then later there's running and then screaming.
That's a really cool pick.
Well, I was 8, I think, when the first Jurassic Park movie came out, which was like sort of perfect age. I watched it in the cinema, and it was like, I always think Jurassic Park is like my Star Wars or my really influential franchise. Yeah. And I was so excited that there was a sequel, and I think it came out in like 1997 or something. So this was like
that was a big jump.
It was quite a big jump, wasn't it? Yeah, because the first one was 93 or something. That's I don't know, like 3 or 4 years. Mm. But this was like before the internet, really. I think, or maybe I didn't have it, but before when you can. Because now you find out so much about films and you can research them or whatever. And if you're excited about something, they'll release like teasers and photos of the cast and crew and stuff. But there's sort of none of that. And I remember finding a magazine. They released like a little magazine about the movie. Like, I don't know, like maybe 6 months before it came out. And I just remember sort of poring over this magazine, and it would just be like, like unit stills or location shots or whatever. You'd have like Pete Postlethwaite, R.I.P. It's there. You
Stan Winston.
Stan Winston.
Oh, God.
R.I.P. Yeah. Stegosaurus. R.I.P. R.I.P. All of them. They're gone. But then we have, just photos and stuff, and trying to sort of looking at this magazine and trying to sort of extrapolate from it, like what this film would be about. And I read the Michael Crichton.
You're right.
His book as well. Yeah, he in the Lost World, which is actually like quite a lot of it. They some scenes they'd taken for Jurassic Park, I think. Oh, I'm not sure actually. No, wait, maybe.
They jumbled them all up because
they jumbled them up.
Played Fast and Loose, or David Koepp played Fast and Loose with that adaptation.
Yeah,
for the better, I think.
And I think actually that's right. Yeah, I think Jurassic Park 2 opens with a scene that was in the Jurassic Park book, with the little girl gets attacked by the compies.
Yeah.
So I was like, genuinely just trying to find out like as much information about this. I was like really obsessed, wanted to know everything about it. And there was that tagline, "Something has survived," which is a really cool, really cool thing. So I was like just in like a bit of excitement when I finally got to see it. And like I think it's considered like one of like a lesser Spielberg movie. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of that. I think it's like that and like Amistad is that sort of like late 90s era. I don't think it's considered one of his like best movies, but I mean, I loved it. I think I would have loved it anyway. I was very.
It's got a different tone to the first one. It's darker.
Yeah, it has. It's got a much different tone. Almost like the whole thing set at night. It's more violent. I think it is darker. It starts.
The guy getting ripped in two by two different T-Rexes.
Yeah,
pulled apart.
Richard Schiff getting pulled in two and stuff, and it is quite dark, and it looks different as well. They filmed it in I remember that being one of the only things that bothered me at the time. So I think they filmed it in California. They filmed the first one in Hawaii. When they were filming the first movie, there was this massive like tropical storm, which I think put shooting back by a few weeks and destroyed all the sets and stuff. And I think partly because of that, they let's not film in the same place again. So they shot it in like California, so they're not even that far away from LA, which is why if you look all the like a tree nerd. Like all the trees are really different. Like the actual foliage, it's set on a different island, I guess, but it looks very different.
I have that response to The Last Crusade, where they're on the bike chase.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from? They're going to Vienna, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like where they shot A-Team. It's like the dusty roads and the dry foliage, expecting a forest fire any second, and that is not the right topography.
That's actually the wrong foliage. But it's true. But yeah, so it's got that thing of like it's kind of got a different vibe and a different sort of tone. But I loved it, man. I still love it. I can still watch it. My kids are massively into Jurassic Park, so I've ended up sort of watching it with them and watching all of the movies with them. And it's interesting seeing like the change in like tone and visuals and gloss of the series as it goes along and into the sort of Jurassic World era. But so I love that film. And in my pick of the best.
Don't tell me
from
it's going to be the gymnast scene where
it's the gymnast scene. What's clever about that is that it is seeded very early that girl is in the set up that she got cut from the gymnast team, and then later on actually she is very good at gymnastics. So that's it. No, it's the probably a really obvious one, but it's the trailer. It's the trailer over the
amazing
cliff scene, which is I just think it's one of the well, I think it's like one of Spielberg's best set pieces.
Definitely,
it's just phenomenal.
This isn't hunting behavior, Ian. Not hunting. They're searching. They came for their infants.
If you look at it, like if you take it from the whole beginning, like even up to like before it's gone, so you got like after the T-Rex attacks the trailer, and then they go. And then Richard Schiff arrives in his car, and there's so many different things going off that all end up paying off sort of one by one. You know, you've got Richard Schiff up on the top of the cliff with his car, and he's trying to get the wire from his car around the tree trunk, and it won't fit. He has to push it more. Finally gets it round. He has to throw the rope down the thing. There's loads of stuff that's going on, and eventually it all amalgamates into this sort of nightmarish scenario of Richard Schiff getting eaten at the top and the trailer coming down with the car and then the bag coming and smashing the window bit is the best bit of it when you have that slowly cracking glass underneath Julianne Moore.
Hang on, this is gonna be bad.
When you think about the first Jurassic Park film and the introduction of the T-Rex, the fact that they were able to one-up it in the sequel, it's incredible. For me, I think I was 12 when I saw Jurassic Park, and that to me also was like my Star Wars or my, franchise where I thought, that's it, come to Jesus moment has just happened. but that was electric in the cinema.
Hang on to something! Hang on to something!
I'm delighted you picked that scene. I think it actually is a really cool and well executed scene.
Sarah! Sarah!
Oh, God, please.
Don't move! I'm coming down for you. Here I come.
But I also think it's a scene that has been ripped off in other big franchise films over and over again. Like, for instance, I definitely feel it in
Terminator. Was it Genesis? The one with the school buses hanging over the side of the.
We saw it in one of our best bits from last season, Mission Impossible Fallout. You know, when Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill are kind of like dangling off the side of
like
it's
cliffhanger
horizontal things. But again, the first time I've ever seen that type of stunt or set piece was in The Lost World.
Yeah,
and it's one I remember being bashed at the time when it came out, and I watched it several times and thought, this is fun. This is this is fun. What do you expect from a Jurassic Park film? Like, you know?
I like the third one as well.
Do you like the third one? No, I'm less hot on the third one.
I think the effects really, that's the ropiest looking one of all of the films, I feel. If you look at it now, I watched it on Blu-ray recently with the kids.
Have you seen Jurassic World and
we're
that one looks more. Yeah, the Jurassic World looks more CGI, but it's impressive CGI. But I think Jurassic Park 3 has like some dodgy, like even like the models don't look that great, like the Spinosaurus.
I agree with Joe, Kevin. So,
but that sequence where it's like pterodactyls walking across that misty bridge, I loved it.
Oh my God,
What is it?
it's a bird cage.
For what?
Amazing.
It's all right. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, the Jurassic Park franchise. Like, it's such like talking of sequels and like have like there's a perfect example of like a film and a story that really was one and done in a way. Like it's so hard. The thing about Jurassic Park 1 was, that idea of a theme park and dinosaurs together and a broken down theme park, and you were basically like a kid. And it's the excitement of the first time you're seeing dinosaurs and the first time, it's a really hard to, and I think it's been difficult to find stories that you can follow on from that, because you're never going to recapture that original magic. And I almost think that's a series that I would never usually a massive fan of just rebooting things. We always think like, maybe just reboot, just do it again.
That was Jurassic World.
It kind of is, isn't it? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And they kind of have a meta commentary.
Yeah, but I thought that I liked that about it. The story itself, I thought, that's clever. Now the park is actually open and functioning, but kids are bored of dinosaurs. They're just not that exciting anymore.
Yeah, I don't really like the Indominus Rex that much.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Purist. It's got to be a real one.
Lucky I don't bring in my 7-year-old right here, because he's all about Indominus Rex. We had a good conversation about dinosaurs yesterday, and Indominus Rex is number 1. So
you should just tell him it's not real; it doesn't exist, so you lose the argument.
He knows that, and he doesn't care.
He knows he doesn't care. Has he seen the Camp Cretaceous?
Yeah,
on Netflix.
Yeah. I haven't. He's watched it, but he hasn't given me an opinion. He hasn't. But I think the fact that he hasn't gone back, he's like kind of he's watching it without comment, or not obsessively. So maybe that's its own thing.
Maybe that's his comment.
Yeah, that's
it's lack of my kids love that. So there's like 3 series of it now. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's it's not too bad. But
my kids hated it.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie. My God, I thought it would be right up their alley. Wow.
That was a great choice, by the way, Joe.
And it's made me want to go back and watch Lost World. My pick, right, because I picked something that was kind of a sequel reboot, right? And it's kind of also, I'm picking it because it's something I should have brought up in the episode in season 1 for when I was talking about questionable scenes for kids. And I'm bringing up a film I saw when I was 5 in the cinema, and it absolutely fucked with my head, excuse my French. And it's from Return to Oz to The Wizard of Oz.
This summer, Walt Disney Pictures presents a motion picture fantasy adventure beyond your fondest imagination. You'll be transported miraculously back to the enchanted land of Oz, that magical kingdom beloved by young and old for generations.
It's just a yellow brick.
No, Belina, you don't understand. This was the yellow brick road.
You'll share with Dorothy Gale the shock of finding everything mysteriously changed.
What's happened to everybody?
And you'll delight with her discovery of 4 wonderful new friends who band together against a wicked queen and the dreaded Gnome King. This is the Oz you haven't seen before, and this is the Oz you'll want to visit again and again. From Walt Disney Pictures comes a whole new world of entertainment.
Why don't we just fly back to Kansas?
Return to Oz.
And again, it's kind of like Joe's story there. It's something I saw at the right age. And you don't really... Yeah, I had an awareness of The Wizard of Oz, but I don't think I'd seen The Wizard of Oz. I just kind of knew the story. And watching Return to Oz as a 5-year-old in the cinema was effectively being taken to see a horror film. And because you have Dorothy has been taken. She's after her experience in the first film. She's been taken in. She's been trying to tell her aunt and uncle about, like, you know, this wonderful magical adventure she's been on, and they just send her to a awful psychiatric ward where she gets electric shock therapy, and she gets sent back to Oz, which also seems to be under control of the same sort of a horrible, sinister wardens. And Oz itself is also turned into this nightmarish place that she's experiencing in her own world. And the scene I picked for that is when she first goes to Oz and she meets the Wheelers, these horrific, monstrous villains who are on kind of rollerblades, and they've got kind of like wheels for hands and stuff like that.
Come here.
And it's just that whole sequence where she returns to Oz and all the citizens of Oz have turned to stone, and it's just horrific. But it's for me, what it does is it spins this world in a whole different tone and into a whole different genre, and it goes full horror, which, you know, the first film, you know, had its horror moments.
They also shot that in England, didn't they? A lot of those sort of kids films shot in England around that time, they're really glum, and for some reason, like Willow is another one. You just think, like, I don't want to be in this world. Of
course, made by Walter Murch. Walter Murch was co-wrote it and directed, who was the famous editor and whatnot. So that was my pick.
You have to come out sooner or later. And when you do, we'll tear you into little pieces and throw you in the deadly desert.
I haven't done anything to you.
I feel like that's a film that's coming back in favor with people, where I don't think it was liked at the time, but now people sort of view it as.
Do you think people like it just to sort of, because people like Will have grown up and are just ready to face the trauma of seeing it as children.
Listen, I am hanging on for when all the kids that saw Grabbers age up, and then it becomes like, oh, that was my favorite film as a kid. But yeah, Halloween 3 as well. I don't know if that counts as a sequel or a reboot, but that was one of those films that was really disliked at the time, and now it's considered to be the second best in that franchise to a lot of people, and I'd agree with them.
Good pick.
You've inspired me, Joe, now, because I have my real pick, but I'm going to mention what my other seminal sort of cinema moment was, and I saw Scream 2 at the perfect age.
Hello?
Hello, Sydney. Remember me?
What do you want?
It's time, girlfriend. Don't you know history repeats itself?
What am I supposed to do?
If there is some freaked out psycho, they're probably already in your life.
Okay, so you just want to sit here and wait to see who drops next?
The way I see it, someone's out to make a sequel. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number 1, the body count is always bigger. Number 2, the death scenes are always much more elaborate.
How do we find the killer, Randy? That's what I want to know.
Well, let's look at the suspects.
Do you want to die tonight? What's your favorite scary movie?
When the first Scream came out, that was massive. That was such a fucking huge film that it relaunched all those sort of like 90s slasher films where they made about 20 or 30 sort of like copycats. But when the sequel was coming around, the anticipation building for that, where it was like the same cast, the same writer, the same director, the whole same creative team, following up an exact year after the first one. And I don't think the film sticks the landing. The ending is a bit sort of muddled. But in terms of set pieces in that genre of like slasher movies, Scream 2 is just overflowing with them, from like the opening with the cinema with Jada Pinkett to that really awesome moment where they get trapped in the backseat of a car and they have to climb out over Ghostface while he's unconscious. And the really amazing chase scene that happens with Courtney Cox in the college. I remember the cinema just being electric, where when she goes into the sound booth and she shuts the door and the whole screen goes black, the audience just screamed the house down for no reason other than just like they didn't like that the screen had just gone black. In terms of sequels and ones that impacted me, where I thought, I want to write stuff that plays the audience like a fiddle, where it's like Jurassic Park, where you've got them eating out of your hands, and Scream 2, where you've got a willing audience. It played like gangbusters.
They were so clever to have that scene in the cinema early on and sort of set up that the location that most people would have been watching the film in was unsafe.
Yeah.
And then later on, when it goes to black and suddenly you are in a completely black auditorium, it's great.
Yeah, and I love that it was so meta, where they brought Heather Graham to replay Drew Barrymore, where she's doing the Hollywood version of the opening of the first film. I thought, this is so fun. This is stuff that I would love to be writing, where it's playful and it's mischievous.
You've inspired me there, Kevin, to revisit the Scream franchise, because I saw Scream 1 on video once, and I went, oh yeah, that's cool. And I know I've seen Scream 2 and Scream 3 in the cinema, but have no memory of them. And maybe I was kind of a little bit older than you and a little bit more, I don't know,
jaded.
Maybe a slight little bit more jaded when I saw this, but I want to revisit them.
I think you needed to be right in the pocket for those films. Okay. I think if they hit at the sweet spot. But for me, the first two are great.
I'm going to rewatch those.
I'll quickly tell you my pick, and then I'll give Joe the chance to spin the wheel for Will.
Oh!
How do you like that, Joe?
Oh, very exciting.
Okay.
It is. But my pick, actually, when we're talking about sequel reboots and ones that blew my mind, where I thought, this is so clever, and it is another Wes Craven movie, and it came just before Scream, and it is the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. It's Wes Craven's new Nightmare.
Okay, and action.
It's 7 films later. The actors are assembled.
Stop.
The effects artists are hard at work.
A little bit more blood. More blood.
Wes Craven is making a new Nightmare on Elm Street.
And cut! Print that, Gretchen!
But this time, the world he's creating seems to be coming true.
He's decided to cross over.
Freddy Krueger returns.
Out of films, into our reality.
And he wants more than revenge.
Maybe you should tell me your dream.
Miss me. He wants life.
Nancy.
It's been giving me Freddy nightmares.
Freddy? As in me.
Is it a movie?
How would you like to join us in the definitive nightmare?
I thought you killed Freddy off.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
And it's the one where they take the whole mythology of the franchise and say that the movies are putting an evil out into the world. It's infecting people, and it's bringing back this ancient entity, which is taking the guise of the character from that franchise, and it is stalking and harassing and invading the life of the lead actress from the first film.
Freddy's got my baby! He's got my Dylan!
For everyone who ever believed Freddy's dead, prepare yourselves for the real story. Wes Craven's
The story for a movie.
New Nightmare. Feature Maker.
And it's a film which I think doesn't get enough love. And at the time, I was like blown away by the fact that you could do that, where you could just sort of go that deep, that meta, where it's a movie about the first movie, and it is even rebooting scenes from the first movie, where the Tina death in the first one, where she's like flopping all over the ceiling, they do a new version of that in the sequel. And I'm playing to the wrong crowd here because I can see both.
I never seen it.
He's jaded. But for listeners out there, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, get on it. It's great. Oh, I'll throw one more thing at you, Joe, to make you uncomfortable. What is your favorite Batman sequel? Batman Returns or The Dark Knight?
Well, Batman, probably The Dark Knight. I think because Batman Begins is just counts as a new sort of franchise. Yeah, probably The Dark Knight
/ film. Did you hear that? You can quote Joe on that.
Batman Returns is good as well. I mean, honestly, they're all good. I worked in a cinema when Batman Begins came out, and that was like, so I've seen it like 10,000 times because of that. But that was like one of the only films that I could watch under those sort of circumstances, having to watch it like 3 times a day and never get sort of bored with it. That was my first real sort of, and so The Dark Knight, I was really excited. It's great as well, and I think the third one's all right as well. That got a bit of a kicking when it came out, but I just think
the logic of the third one sort of pulls it apart, where it feels like he had themes in mind, and so whatever would help him put those themes across, he was going to do, even if it like didn't make sense. I'm like, I don't know that you can keep a police force underground for months at a time in the same clothes and have them come storming out, everyone clean.
I'd love to see a spin-off just set in those caves with those cops. Like 6 months.
It'd be like the
this
Descent.
Lord of the Flies, just fucking going mad. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just there, like, oh my god.
Clean shaven as well. I mean, what the fuck? I will accept a guy in a bat suit, but a police running out of a sewer, clean shaven, not having it. So, Joe, I have sent you a link to our big decision wheel.
Oh wow! I really wondered how you did it. But,
and you spin it, and it's going to be Will's scene for next week. So, Podbot, cue wheel music.
It's already playing, you deaf idiot.
Shut up, Podbot.
Spin it with love, Joe. That's all I'll say.
Wait.
Spin it with love.
Is this actually? I've just got a picture of a wheel, he said.
Oh, no.
This
is live, folks. Let me figure it. Because we've been away for so long, I can't remember how to send the bloody wheel.
Yeah, man, that's just a picture of a wheel.
Let me do it.
Oh, God. Usually when Kevin send me links, it's just the nude pictures of cats. Cats in provocative poses.
It's an erotic feline feast.
This is always the way it goes. Oh no, wrong link again. Whoops.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even remember.
Podbot, delete all that.
You must be joking.
Oh God.
I have sent it to you there, Joe.
Thank you, Podbot. Here we go. And for anyone out there who thinks we've forgotten something, tweet us, and we will read your tweets. I can't really say any more than that.
Sorry, I'm just downloading the app that you sent me from the app.
Well, you don't need to do that. I think you just open it on...
Listen, I've got it now.
Okay.
Fine,
I bet you if it's like me, Kevin, it mightn't work. It might have to be done in a browser. Because you used to send me the link on, and I used to open it on my phone, and it wouldn't work.
Yeah. So I think you need to...
Oh no, I've got it now. I'm trying to like manipulate it. It's his best iBoy scene.
It does work. Oh wow!
Scene for the ritual. Okay, wait. So I just press spin.
Oh Jesus Christ!
3, 2, 1, spin.
Sweet Jesus!
It's
Will, you've got to be excited for this. We're too negative every time.
Yeah. Wait, I can't wait. I can't.
This is good, man. This is a good one.
Has it spun? Great.
It's spun. It's spun and done. It's best World War II scene.
Oh, whoa, that's very... You know what? Yeah, sometimes when you get something and you go, yes, I'm delighted. But then I immediately just assess the amount of research that it entails.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, shit. But I am thrilled. Kevin, can I recruit your dad as my research assistant?
My dad has watched every single fucking thing there is that exists in the world about World War II, whether it's dramatic TV shows or documentaries or fucking everything.
I went through like a real phase of like watching World War II in colour. The documentary on Netflix is like my relaxation show.
Which one?
I could get to sleep. World War II in colour.
Oh yeah,
Very bad show.
Joe, while I have you here, right? Can you give me your best? I know you're not your best, but can you throw something at me? Give me a help on World War II scene. Where's your mind go?
Yeah, best World War II.
I mean, so like it's quite. I mean, instantly goes like Saving Private Ryan, which is like obvious, more Spielberg. But I always feel like
that's his fault. He's made like about 40 films.
No, he's made too many good movies.
Yeah.
The Michael Fassbender like basement shootout.
Amazing!
That's fucking sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
I also think like Kelly's Heroes. No, do you know what? I always really like the ones that are set in snow for some reason. It's like any film set in snow, but there's what's that one like? Where Eagles Dare, and is that the one where they have to? No, Where Eagles Dare is the Clint Eastwood one, isn't it? And then there's the one where they have to blow up the thing in Norway.
Oh, the one with with Michael Douglas's dad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember that one.
Based on a true story. Well, I suppose they all are.
Yes, Kevin. They're all based on true stories. Whoa. Except Hellboy. That's all I will say, right? The opening to Hellboy. But,
except Inglourious Bastards. They're gotchy.
Joe, thank you so much. That's given me good help.
Joe, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Joe Barton _. And that's the best place. You can find me there.
And you have a bunch of films which are Giri Haji, for anyone who hasn't seen it, is I suppose event TV show you'd call it, like a mini series.
Say that again, Kevin. Say the title again.
Giri Haji.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. If you've not seen it, Will,
I actually haven't.
Tell you anything. But when it gets to, oh my god. I can't believe you just said that in front of Joe.
Joe, I'm
so embarrassed.
Joe knows how little time I have. So I've got World War II films to watch by next Monday night, whatever it is.
Yeah, but there's an amazing turn that happens towards the end of that show, which my jaw was on the floor. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't think that was possible, and it's amazing that you got away with that. And people that have seen it know what I'm talking about. But I've got you before I let you go. Did you have any sort of convincing to do with the powers that be to get that on screen?
No, we didn't actually. Do you know what? It was really... I didn't realise it at the time. I'm realising it now. But at the time, I didn't realise how blessed that entire production was. It was really easy, and everyone was really supportive. And Netflix and BBC and the producers and everyone was just it was a very creatively... welcoming sort of environment. So yeah, when I sort of suggested doing that thing, I don't know why we're being so coy about it. We'll say what the fuck
because I haven't seen it. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm like, don't fucking spoil it or I'll come for you.
There's 100-person shagathon that happens.
Yeah,
and it is amazing. But no, that's definitely worth recommending. And The Ritual is a great monster movie that you did. And you seem to be jumping all over the place in terms of genre and working in different mediums. But listen, thanks a million for coming on. And I know you're incredibly busy. Cheers, Joe.
Great, that was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Back next week. Best World War II scene.
Thank you.
I'm glad it's you, not me.
Oh God, come here. Good luck. Thanks, Joe. Take care, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Done.
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
The Best Bits podcast is produced by Will and Kevin.
All audio clips and music heard in this episode is the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff.
If you have any notes, comments, scene suggestions, or just want to get in touch with us, email us at bestbitspodcast@gmail.com.
I loved Popbot as well.
Likewise, my dude. And here is a clip from the lads' latest Mini Bits bonus show. The full episode, plus 80 more, are available on their Patreon.
See ya, Mossy. I gotta go in and record another one of these fucking Mini Bits.
Oh, yes, this is all it is.
I know. What are you doing?
Right now, on the Academy screener site, and I hit play because there's only a few films on it for the first month or two. There's only like about less than 10 films on it. And Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is on here. So I hit play on that, and I'm hearing we're out in Afghanistan, and I'm hearing all the dirt, and I hear vehicles, and I hear the sound effects of characters walking. But when characters open their mouths, I don't hear any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
there's no dialogue.
They've uploaded the wrong audio track. It's like that Tom Cruise trailer where it was just the sound effects.
Have you met an SP?
Yeah, and this film has been up on the screener site for a few weeks now, and they still have the wrong one here. Well, I tell you what films are actually up there for all Academy members to see, and to see what they've put up there.
But first of all, let's just throw to our theme. And I have to say, the feedback from my thank you ballad was quite fierce.
The power of Christ compels you!
So I asked Mossy, who is a friend of my dad's at the quiz, sing us a theme tune.
Oh.
So over to Mossy.
Hit the cards. I'm fine, I'll get it done in one take. It's the Mini Bits. Or podcast, what will they say? With Will and Kevin Cock.
The best fucking podcast.
That'll do.
That'll do.
My God.
Thank you, Mossy.
He would make an angel weep. That voice would make an angel weep.
Telling you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Boolabus.
It only cost us 2 months patron money, so, you know.
Is that all? Money well spent, in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get much for €20. Will, you were telling me before the intro that you were looking at stuff on the Academy Screeners website.
The Academy Awards. So for official members, yes. So they don't send out DVDs anymore. So how you do all your streaming stuff is all via the Academy website. And the streaming season has begun, which is exciting. So it means for the rest of the year...
Did it ever end?
It does end. It does. After the Academy Awards, there's about 2 weeks, and they take all the films down, and then they begin again at the end of August, and they all start coming up. So it's a whole new collection of hopefuls.
So how many films are on there?
Right now, about 10. Actually, 10 exactly. I can tell you the 10.
Oh, go on, tell me.
John Wick 4.
For the Oscars. Oh, because there's like...
Yes, because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Are they adding it in? Is the stunt category being added?
I believe they're adding in some sort of stunt category.
Breaking news straight from an Academy member's mouth.
Because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Slash film.
I don't know. Did I read this in an article? I feel they were.
I
felt they were.
Have long overlooked stunts, and my God, it's pure artistry.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly well these days. It's all fucking rubber computer generated avatars.
That's why we should highlight. That's why these people should be getting their Oscars when someone's actually going out. Yeah,
go back.
Absolutely,
go back and give it to your man from Mad Max who broke his legs.
Give it to Richard Farnsworth, who was a stuntman and starred in The Straight Story. Yeah, Richard Farnsworth was a career stuntman. Absolutely.
Wasn't that also the case with Machete? What's your man, Machete? Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Is
really?
It Trejo or Trejo?
I always call him Trejo, but he just says, call me Danny.
I was going to say that back to you.
Nah.
I was like, just that.
Weird.
Because we just call